15 of DMD100, Intro to Digital Media Design. All right, so this is our last regular week. Next week, week 16, is finals week, so we will be doing our final presentations. Reminder, you can find out all the information about what your final presentations will look like over here in the week 16 announcement, so be sure to check that out. All right, so let's look at the week 15 module. So for our final regular week, we are going to be completing our series of media analysis. We've done 3 of them so far. We've done them on television, movies, and art, and now our final one we're going to do on the world of design. So same rules as usual. You have the entire week to work on it. It is due end of the week, Friday. You can work in a small group and then each post your answers to the analysis, or you can work individually. It's entirely up to you, but have that planned out. Make sure you know what you're doing. We're going to take a look at the assignment in a second. But of course, while you're doing this, you guys are going to be steadily working to finish up your title sequence. So this week in class will be your last opportunity to sort of show any progress on your title sequence and let us know what you're doing. But again, check the presentation guidelines in the week 16 announcement, and that'll give you more details on that. So be sure you're finishing that up. Now let's take a look at our final media analysis. So again, it's all about design. Same structure as before. There are a number of pieces of design that you're going to get to choose from, which we'll look at in a second. And your goal is to answer these questions as thoughtfully and as detailed as possible. So you're going to discuss the artwork with an eye towards deconstruction, analyzation, and documentation as usual. Remember, this is all part of our ongoing effort to look more closely at things. So the basic categories for analyzing a piece of design are structure and intent. We have 4 questions here. Regular old intent, which we have here, typography, use of color, and use of imagery. Now, by now, I saved this one for last because by now we have done enough work in this class in terms of understanding visual literacy, looking at some basic design elements, thinking about things like color and imagery, and use of typography for your title sequence, that by now you've got some of the basics of design down, and so you're probably prepared to go ahead and analyze this. That said, if you don't feel, if you think to yourself, oh, I'm not really an expert in design, I'm going to have trouble analyzing these, don't worry about it. Just use your best instincts, just like we did for movies and television and art. The goal here is to use what you know and look very carefully at things and try to make as many assumptions based on your knowledge as possible, right? Educated assumptions. So we're going to dive into that. Let's take a look at what your choices are. Here's the list down below. So the first one is a Bauhaus poster from 1969 by Muriel Cooper. This is right here. This is a poster celebrating the famed Bauhaus art school in Germany, which was founded by Walter Gropius. So this is sort of like a celebration of that, and it's done, of course, in a Bauhaus style. So you can check that out. You definitely want to do a little more research into what the Bauhaus is all about before analyzing this one, but you can check that out. The other one is the IBM poster by Paul Rand. Paul Rand was a famous graphic designer who created logos primarily. He did a lot of other work, but he's really well known for his logos. This is sort of a fun version of the IBM Computer Company logo that he developed for them. And as you can see, it's kind of a play on words, IBM. Now the M at the end, of course, is taken directly from the IBM Computer Company logo, so it matches up with that nicely, but the I and the B has changed. So definitely do some more research on who Paul Rand is and what his work is all about. All right, the third one is by Michael Barut, called Inner City Infill from 1984. Michael Barut, a very famous designer, known a lot for his dramatic typography work. As you can see here, lots of dramatic typography. Huge divisions in space, lots of negative space, really dramatic work. So Michael Barut's piece. Then we have the Jurassic Park book cover by Chip Kidd. Now, of course, you're probably familiar with the Jurassic Park movie, but the book cover, of course, came first because the book came first, as written by Michael Crichton. So Chip Kidd is sort of a pop culture graphic designer out of New York. He does publishing design. He loves working in areas of pop culture. He's a big comic book fan. He's worked in both of those areas, and so that sort of famous attacking skeleton dinosaur that was used in the Jurassic Park movie originated in this book cover design. So certainly something to check out. And if you happen to check out Chip Kid on YouTube and see some of his talks that he's given, he is a very fun character. He's a fun person to listen to. The guy knows how to give a talk. So certainly check him out. And this is another one you could possibly review. Okay, next we've got The Diva is Dismissed from 1994 by Paula Scher. Paula Scher, this one right here. Paula Scher is one of the first female graphic designers to really make a huge name for herself. Now, this is not to say that there weren't other female graphic designers before her. There are many of them, a lot of them, fabulously lauded for their work, but many of them hidden simply because of the sexism of the time. We've talked about in this class already the idea that Saul Bass's wife basically did just as much work on title sequences as he did with him, and yet received little credit. So unfortunately, a lot of that happened. But Paula Scher is one of the first ones that really got her name out there in a much larger, more pronounced way that she deserved, quite frankly. And so take a look at this. This is a great poster design by her. Okay, next you could choose the Lou Reed poster by Stefan Sagmeister from 1996. This is this right here. So Lou Reed, the musician, commissioned Sagmeister to do this for him. And so, again, this is a poster promoting a new album that Lou Reed was coming out with at the time. Okay, next we've got Nine Inch Nails cover by David Carson. Oop, that's not it. This is it. So David Carson is sort of known as a grunge graphic designer. And so it works out nicely that he did a lot of the album cover art, the posters, the promotional work for the band Nine Inch Nails, which of course is really just Trent Reznor doing his work. And David Carson is a really interesting character in that his treatment of typography is almost as if he dropped it off of a tall building and then set it on fire. His typography work is very different. He very much challenges his audience to try to read what he is putting on the surface. So anyway, this is a piece he did for Nine Inch Nails, so you can check that out. That's a possibility. And then your other choice, going completely in the other direction, is by Kate Morose, and it is her typography piece. Now, I say going in the opposite direction because while David Carson was very dark and grungy, Kate Morose is very fun and upbeat. She does a lot of hand lettering, a lot of custom hand typography work in bright colors, using space as fully as possible. Kate Morose's work is pretty amazing and upbeat and really rich in color. Okay, lastly, we have a design called Beards by Herb Lublin. Herb Lublin is well known for morphing typography into illustrative effects. So, of course, this is called Beards. You can see the word Beards, and underneath this illustration of a person's face, you have it set as if it is that person's beard. So he does a lot of these sorts of things. So you can check out Herb Lublin's work and possibly choose from that one. All right, so those are your choices for the week. Check them all out, see which one you like best. Decide on it, maybe work with a buddy or a small team and work through thoughtfully answering these questions. All right, remember, it's due by the end of the week. I look forward to all of your analysis. All right, if you need me, you know where to find me, online, email, etc. I will talk to you soon.